What's up everyone, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch and review for you. Today I'm partnering up with Cirque Colors to show you their new Cirque-Us collection. So we've got 6 brand new nail polishes, but before we get into that, I do want to talk a little bit about Cirque if you haven't heard of them before. They are an independent nail polish brand that is based in the US, but they are available internationally and all of their polishes are non-toxic. They are vegan, meaning they do not use any animal-derived ingredients, and they're also cruelty-free, meaning they do not test their products on animals. So yeah, like I said, the Cirque-Us collection has 6 new polishes, but they're also re-releasing 4 older polishes from their Twisted Tea Party collection, and they're all in their Shimmergraphic formula, which if you haven't seen it before, it's basically a combination of a shimmer and a holographic, but it's a little bit different from that, so you'll see in the swatches. And personally, I love this formula. I'm a huge fan of it, so I was really excited to swatch these, but let me get into it, then we can talk a little bit more about my thoughts on them, pricing, availability, all that good stuff. So roll the swatches. So as with all of my swatch and review videos, I am using base coat underneath all of my swatches just to protect my natural nail and prevent any stains. Today I'm using the Cirque Clean Slate base coat. So starting off with the new releases, this first shade is called Ringleader, and I was so excited about this one. I love a bold red shade, and I feel like it just goes with the theme of this collection perfectly. So we've got this stunning, kind of warmer red base, and then we have a duochrome shimmer within it that shifts between pink and orange, and then at more extreme angles you can also see a little bit of gold into green as well. And then we also have a larger hollow particle running throughout, so it's very sparkly, it's super gorgeous. It actually gave me really nice coverage in 2 coats, but just out of curiosity I did want to try a third just to see if it gave any more coverage. And I will say you can definitely wear this one in 2 coats, but if you want to make that red color a little bit deeper, you can do an extra coat, and I feel like that just makes it look a little bit richer and darker, so it's kind of fun to have that option, but it's still definitely fully opaque in 2 for me. Next up we have the shade Marionnette, and I instantly fell in love with this one. Honestly, I loved the way that this looked in 1 coat. It's super sheer and light, but it also gave me very even coverage, and it covered up my visible nail line really nicely, but of course I am going to build it up to full coverage to show you. So we have this gorgeous cool toned baby pink base, and then we have this really light iridescent shimmer that shifts between like this orangey copper color into gold, and then again we have those larger hollow particles. And again, I love the way that this one looked in 2 coats. It was slightly more sheer, so you could see just a hint of visible nail line, but very even and smooth, so you can wear this as like a crelly kind of polish. But I did want to try a 3rd coat just to see what it looked like, and there I was able to get coverage enough to cover up that visible nail line. So again, it kind of feels like multiple polishes in one. I honestly love this one in 1 coat, 2 coats, and 3 coats, and I feel like it looks pretty different each way, so I don't know, feels like good value to me. Then we have the shade Showgirl, and this one is a periwinkle base, and then we've got another beautiful duochrome iridescent shimmer in here. So this one shifts between being a fuchsia into being a more pinky reddish kind of color, and then around the edges and at more severe angles you can also see a little bit of yellow into green and even into blue. And we also have that really intense hollow sparkle, and that's just something I love about the Shimmergraphic formula in general. I feel like the particles of hollow in here are a little bit bigger, so even when you're in less direct lighting you can still see so much sparkle, which I love. So 2 coats gave me nice crelly coverage. Again, you could see the visible nail line, but it was very even across the nail, so you could wear it as a manicure that way. I ended up applying 3 coats, and it really deepened the color. It made it a little bit richer for me, and I was able to cover up that visible nail line. This one did seem a little bit similar to a previous release called Spoonful of Sugar, so I wanted to do a little comparison, but looking at them side by side, I actually don't think they're really similar. This one is definitely more of a gray toned pastel blue, but it does have a similar shimmer and hollow sparkle in there. I just think the base colors are very different. Next up we have the shade Aerial Act, and this one is a really intense cobalt blue base that is totally packed with this iridescent shimmer that mostly looks like this gorgeous turquoise color, but it fades into a deeper blue, and then at certain angles you can also see even cooler tones, like a little bit of like a purpley vibe, and you can also see the hollow sparkle in there. This polish was such a standout for me in the collection. It's just so vibrant and eye-catching. I feel like this type of blue just screams summertime to me, and it definitely has that whole mermaid oceanic vibe. Now I did do 2 coats coats here, but again, just out of curiosity, I wanted to apply a third. And I will say for this one, I think it looked exactly the same in 2 and 3 coats. So I would just wear this one as a 2-coater on my nail length. I think that it ended up giving me perfect coverage that way. I just wanted to see if it would deepen the color, but I think it ended up looking the same both ways. Moving on, we have the shade Stunt Queen, and this one is described as a light turquoise base. So we have this really beautiful soft color, and then within that we have a really unique iridescent shimmer running throughout. So it kind of shifts between being a coppery orange into gold into green, which I think is a very interesting contrast to that turquoisey color. And then of course we have the hollow sparkle in there, and starting off with 2 coats, it looks very soft, it looks very springy, but I was able to make it look a little bit more intense in 3. So once again, really cool to kind of have the option. I feel like as a spring color I would wear it in 2 coats, but as a summer color I would wear it in 3, and I just really love that contrast in the colors. I think it's such an unexpected color combination to see that light blue with that coppery orange with that green all at once. It's just really fun. Now, speaking of interesting color combinations, we have this shade Limelight, and this one is a lime green base, and within that we have what I would say is the most interesting and unique of colored shimmers in here. So this one actually shifts between being a blue into purple, which is so funky. I love that combination of this like very warm green plus that very cool toned iridescent shimmer, and again we have all of that hollow sparkle. So it's just a really unique shade of green. I love a green. I love when it kind of borders on being ugly pretty, and I think that contrast is just so sharp and different. So I don't know, it kind of walks that borderline for me, which is fun. So this was another one that I think was similar to a previous release, which is called You Tart, and this one I would say had a similar base color, but it does look a lot warmer because the shimmer in here is a more iridescent pink into coppery orange. So I think that shimmer really changes the outcome of the polish. The newer shade Limelight definitely feels more cool toned because of that contrast, whereas You Tart feels like a warmer, almost more tropical, summery kind of color to me. So now moving on to the re-releases, which are also Shimmergraphic polishes, but I would say the formula is slightly different on these, which I'll explain in a second. This first shade is called Tipsy Turvy, and we've got this really beautiful sky blue base with a gorgeous flaky shimmer that shifts between pink and this golden, almost green kind of color. And then of course we have the hollow sparkle running throughout. And the big difference that I'm seeing between this formula and the newer shades is that these ones have a bigger iridescent shimmer that I would almost call a flaky. So you can see the individual particles a little bit differently. This one in particular felt slightly less intense with the hollow pigment, but it's still super gorgeous, and I do love those flakies. And in the bottle, I thought it looked very similar to the new shade Stunt Queen, but looking at them side by side, I actually think they're very different. So I think that's just something where in the bottle they kind of look like the same blue, but it's not even close. And then we have the shade Jammin out, and this one is a purple, almost jelly-like base that has a really intense iridescent flaky shimmer running throughout that primarily looks like a very cool toned purple into a more bluish kind of color. And again, we have a lot of hollow sparkle running throughout. It's super gorgeous, and because we have those larger particles, they just hit the light so perfectly. So this was another one that I would almost say was that 2-in-1 formula, because in 2 coats it has this soft jelly kind of look to it, but it's still very even across the nails. In 3 coats I was able to get really intense coverage, and that purple looked super bold. So again, I kind of feel like in 2 coats it feels like a springy color, and in 3 coats it feels like a summery color. So kind of nice to have both in one. Then we have the shade Pinkies Up, and this one is a medium pink jelly base, and it has a ton of iridescent shimmer running throughout. Primarily looking at it head on, I see a lot of that fuchsia pinky kind of color into orange, and then at more extreme angles I'm also seeing gold into a little bit of green as well. And then of course we have that hollow sparkle, and this is just a really beautiful pink in my opinion. I love that slightly softer tone of pink mixed with that really intense iridescent shimmer. It almost feels like a springy base with a more summery shimmer in there. I don't know, I feel like a lot of these are giving me like good transition into summer feelings. And again, once I did that 3rd coat, I feel like it just really intensified that color, made it a little bit bolder. So really just depending on how intense and deep you want that to be, that just depends on how many coats you want to wear. And then last but definitely not least, we have Hot Gossip, which is a gorgeous peachy orange jelly base that has this beautiful red to orange to gold iridescent shimmer, as well as the hollow sparkle. And this was another one that I just couldn't get enough of no matter how many coats I did. I thought it looked so beautiful in one coat, almost like a wedding kind of shade. In two coats, it still feels so perfect for a wedding. It almost feels like a soft nude with like a little bit of sparkle to it. And then when I really wanted to punch up the intensity, I did a third coat and it just looked like such a beautiful spring summer kind of vibe. So just a perfect shade all around. The formula is amazing. The color is perfection. And I just feel like any way you wear it, it's going to look great. So here are all the shades together, and you can see the newer shades as well as the re-releases. And it's actually really interesting to see them all side by side, because I think a lot of the colors at first glance seem kind of similar, but then once you actually look at them, you can see that they're really not close to each other. So it ends up working out really nicely. I love this color story. I love the color scheme here. I feel like these are the colors that I gravitate towards all the time. These reds and pinks and blues and purples and lime greens are just so fun, and I feel like they're just so vibrant and exciting for this time of year rather than the muted colors that we usually see so often. And I especially love that really intense hollow sparkle. I just really appreciate them having that bigger hollow particle in there rather than like a very subtle hollow, because this way, even when you're indoors or when you're in regular lighting, you can still see how gorgeous it is. So yeah, let's talk about these a bit more. So yeah, those are the swatches, and as you can see, I totally love these. I love the Shimmergraphic formula. I love that bigger hollow particle in there. I feel like it's just a little bit more elevated and special than that teeny tiny hollow sparkle you usually see in shimmer. So that just makes it a little bit more exciting for me. I love the color story here. I love how vibrant and eye-catching everything is. I know I've talked about it ad nauseum, but I'm really not a huge fan of the classic spring pastel colors. I always like to see the colors that are in real life during this time of year, like all of the blooming flowers and everything just growing and coming back to life. And I think this really encapsulates that. And what I really love about collections like this is that they carry over really nicely into summer as well, especially with those hollow particles. It's definitely something that I'm looking forward to wearing a lot in the next couple of seasons. And I do think that the theme and inspo is really fun. I think it's like kind of a little bit poking fun at the fact that a lot of people think that Cirque is like a reference to like Cirque du Soleil or like some kind of circus vibe. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people originally as well. So I just think it's a really fun vibe overall. Now, as far as pricing and availability, all these polishes come in the usual 11 milliliter Cirque bottles. They do feature a wide flat brush that has a rounded tip, so application super easy, and they retail on the Cirque website for $14.50 USD each. You can also get the set of 6 new polishes at a discounted rate of $78.30 USD. And I do have an affiliate discount code with Cirque. You can use the code KELLI for 10% off, and that is an unlimited use code, so you can use it as many times as you want. But yeah, I'm curious to hear from you. What do you think of this collection? What do you think of the new colors? What do you think of the re-releases? And what do you think of this Shimmergraphic formula? Leave it all in the comments. We can chat about it. If you enjoy my swatch and review videos, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe. I love you all, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. I googled circus themed would you rather questions for this video. This is maybe not specifically circus themed, but it's kind of in the realm, which is, would you rather always have to hop on one foot or always have to walk backward? And although these are annoying options, I would say this is an easy answer for me. I would always choose to walk backward in this scenario, and that is because I have arthritis in both of my knees, and I think that jumping on one leg at all times would really exacerbate that. Honestly, it's kind of funny that that's even the case for me, because when I went to the doctor about it, they said it was really common in people who did like high school or college sports, or people who were just very athletic in general, or people who worked out a lot. And that is not me at all. So I have no idea why I have arthritis in both my knees. It's not bad all the time, but it's definitely annoying for a lot of exercise and sports. So yeah, I don't think I could do any sort of hopping on one foot. I would have to just walk backwards. But yeah, that's it. I want to hear your answers. So leave it in the comments, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.